How's everyone doing? I don't have anything off the top. I may have some comments at the end, but we will save that.
Should we wait until the end then?
Should you want to stand here for 45 minutes to an hour and then dive right into that?
5 minutes of complete silence and then.
No. Why don't? I'm sure there is still important business.
All right. Well, I'll
to
say
do, so why
something
don't
at
you
the
start?
end as well, but let me just start by saying thank you very much for your time at the podium and around the building. And this is, for people who might not know, your last briefing. And
That is correct.
So anyway, on behalf of the press corps, Sean will say more, I'm sure, but thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
For endeavoring to be honest and to be open and transparent.
Of course.
So.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. I'll let you take it away.
Yeah. All right. Let's start with Syria.
Sure.
So, what is the latest there in terms of your guys' interactions with HTS and others?
Sure.
And how you see things going forward.
Sure. Matt, so it should be no surprise to you, not much has really changed since I talked about this yesterday. We have been in touch, in contact with all the groups in Syria, including HTS. I'm certainly not going to get into the private diplomatic channels, but we have once again, and will continue to stress upon everybody that that we have an importance of doing everything we can to find missing U.S. citizens, including Austin Tice, and bringing them home. The Secretary on his trip, which I know you were on, stressed quite clearly the transition principles that have been the cornerstone of our ongoing diplomatic engagements, principles that now have been taken up by countries throughout the region and well beyond that, which, if you'll humor me, our view is that when whatever government arises out of this transition, it needs to be inclusive. It needs to protect the rights of all Syrians, including women and minorities. Like all governments, it needs to preserve critical state institutions and deliver essential services. And perhaps most importantly, we want to see a Syria that does not pose a threat to its neighbors or the regions, or Syrians, or Syria being a place that's going to serve as a base for terrorism or allying with groups like ISIS. Also, Syria is a member to the Chemical Weapons Convention and has an obligation to ensure that any chemical weapons are secured and destroyed. That continues to be our North Star when it comes to our engagements as it relates to Syria.
Sure.
All right, Sean.
Sure. Well, we can save all the comments for the end. But echoing Matt, thank you for being accessible. I know sometimes the questions are not always comfortable. Sometimes they're comfortable, but thanks for being accessible. Thanks for actually having the briefings, which hasn't always been the case.
Of course.
To continue on Syria, could you say a little bit about the situation in the north? The diplomacy on getting a ceasefire or getting truces with the pro-Turkish fighters.
So talked a little bit about this yesterday. Our assessment continues to be that the ceasefire in Manbij has been extended, and that is holding, and we're closely monitoring the situation around Kobani. As we talked about yesterday, Sean, that situation continues to be fluid, but we have not drawn the conclusion that we are seeing large-scale fighting. I'm not going to get into some of these private discussions, but we're working very hard to avoid an escalation in the north, and that would certainly be of concern to us because it would limit the ability of our local partners, the SDF, to continue to carry out our shared de-ISIS mission, which has been a top U.S. policy priority in Syria. We'll continue to pay close attention to this, but beyond that, we support the immediate de-escalation and cessation of violence in all parts of Syria, and it's our view that this is the time to increase stability.
Sure. I know you said you don't want to get into the details of the negotiations, but I mean, Turkey has publicly said that they want the Kurdish fighters to disarm, and that's sort of a red line for them before going in. Is that something the U.S. agrees with? What's your conversation?
So I'm not gonna get into some of these private diplomatic conversations, Sean. Our focus is on promoting a Syrian-led political process while also ensuring a top priority for us, which is maintaining the enduring defeat of ISIS and terrorism that's been originating in Syria. Given that we know ISIS exploits instability, it's incumbent on all countries with influence on the ground, including, of course, Turkey, to promote stability, dialogue, and restraint. And ultimately, at the end of the day, Sean, we support Syria's territorial integrity.
A lot of those